What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media. But this is, of course, the Truzz the Bank Podcast. So if you're listening on the podcast platform, make sure to check it out on YouTube. Extra Ravens content every day. And if you're checking it out on the YouTube channel, TTB Ravens Media, make sure to hit the subscribe to see that daily Ravens content. But also, this will be posted on Thursday. The first segment will be posted on Thursday, but new moves possibly could happen. So you might want to just go check out the full podcast. The later episodes will be posted on Friday and Saturday, but go check out the podcast in case any other moves come out. We'll be talking about the moves that have already been made by Eric DeCosta, kind of grading those, talk about the guys that got away. And then we have, I think it's my favorite segment, Is This Stupid? I've got a hot take that maybe it's genius, maybe it's like brilliant, but maybe it's really, really stupid. So go check out the podcast to see that. But let's get into this first segment right here. And what we're talking about is we're talking about what the Ravens have done so far and kind of grading Eric DeCosta. Now, let's start off with the first move that the Ravens pretty much made of the offseason. The first move of free agency at like 5 a.m. Zeitler was signed to the Ravens. What do you think about it, Joshua?
Man, we know how the Ravens front office is. We're pretty much like poachers. We pick up off on guys that get released. We have a formula, and if you don't know what the formula is, look at our draft picks. We got back to 7. I'm happy. I'm very happy. I believe we have now a third-round pick as well from our compensatory pick.
Yeah, but the third-round pick, I believe, comes from David Culley leaving because of the new rule for minorities changing coaches' positions. But I believe we got a 5th for something.
Yeah, either way, it works for me.
Oh, yeah.
So, Eric DeCosta, guys, if y'all have not been watching, Ravens news, that was one thing he said is strengthening the offensive line. If Lamar Jackson does not have an offensive line, he cannot run. He cannot pass. Nor can J.K. Dobbins, a.k.a. Ray Rice 2.0, nor Gus the Bus Edwards, glad to have him back, cannot do what they do. So, being able to bring in a savvy vet, that's somebody we really missed on the O-line since Marshall Yonder retiring. Actually, thank you, Marshall Yonder, if you ever listen to the show, for actually helping us out. Bring Zeitler to the Ravens, because Zeitler did reach out to Marshall to get a little background about the Ravens home. So I love the move. We need it. We need a veteran that can understand the schemes, that wants to get to a playoff, possibly a Super Bowl. So I love it.
Yeah, I think it's a great move as well. I think, well, first of all, Joe Thuney got like a ridiculous contract for the Chiefs. And he was probably the best right guard available, but like Zeitler was like right behind him. And the Ravens were like, we're going to get this man no matter what. They got his contract, and it was way cheaper. I think it was like $10 million a year cheaper, or $12 million a year cheaper, maybe even. Like it was just such a good steal for the value that they're getting. And like you said, having that veteran presence on the offensive line really helps, because their veteran presence wasn't there last year. I think, who was the oldest? Was it Bozeman? I guess Skura was probably the oldest, but Skura sucked. Sorry, Matt Skura.
I thought it would be Ronnie.
Well, maybe it's okay. Well, if it's Ronnie, who's played, I think Ronnie's played 4 seasons in the NFL because he got injured in 2 of them. Veteran experience wasn't present. They were struggling to get all of that going. And then you bring in somebody who's been a very solid lineman for the last few years. That's all you can ask for. Lamar Jackson, we saw it in the playoff game. We saw it against the Panthers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not the Panthers, the Patriots. I thought Tom Brady initially, and then I went Buccaneers, and then I thought, I don't know, it said Panthers. But yeah, you look at what happened in those games, 1 bad snaps, but also just getting constant pressures. Lamar Jackson's great, but running away from defensive ends is not something that he wants to be doing 24/7. So he's going to be allowed to, set his feet, make good throws down the field, and hopefully Greg Roman's concepts are good and, gets those guys open. Next, there were a couple of other moves, some guys that the Ravens brought back. First one, I think we'll mention it very briefly. Justin Ellis comes back. Now, initially, it was like, yeah, this is a solid move, bring him back. But after the recent news that came out today about a certain defensive lineman in jail, having an extra defensive lineman on the roster is pretty good. So I would say that's a big brain play thinking ahead of Eric DeCosta because Ravens are already down a defensive lineman. So keeping Justin Ellis, I think, was solid. Sucks to see who left. I can't think of his name. Jihad Ward. Sucks to see him go. Obviously, especially after the news where we are missing an offensive or a defensive lineman now. But Justin Ellis, solid re-signing. Anything you want to add to that? I mean, I think it was just a go-to move.
Nah, I mean, like you said, we keep this brief. I mean, he definitely brings that veteran presence. When he did get into the games, he knew how to plug and move around and move and clog the hole. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's Ravens' identity, getting big guys in the middle that knows how to stuff the run, cause distraction, open up those holes for our linebackers to fly through. So I definitely love it. I'm very upset at our young defensive tackle, but hey, life happens. People and it's next man up.
Yep. Speaking of next man up, the Ravens brought back somebody that both of us, I think, really wanted to. We talked about it in our last episode.
Yes,
bring back Tyus Bowser. Well, we brought back two guys. We said bring back Tyus Bowser and Pernell McPhee. Eric DeCosta, thank you for listening to the show, taking our advice. We are the sole reason for that. So, EDC, you should comment down below.
Damn that EDC, put us on there with Ryan Meek and what's his name?
Garrett Dowd. Yeah, put us on, man. Come on, get Casey on the show. Or I think it's Cassie. Overall, those moves, we talked about it, kind of moves that you have to make. You needed the versatility of Tyus Bowser, his athleticism to be able to, cover. We saw the one-handed pick against the Browns, but also he can make big plays. I think he has 2, maybe even more defensive touchdowns in his career, coming off of, I believe he had an interception, but I think he's also had some fumble recoveries. Like he just is around the ball. He makes plays. Is he a 10-sack kind of guy? I don't think so, but he's somebody who you can put in and you can have him do whatever. He can rush the passer a little bit. He can drop into coverage, and Wink Martindale loves that versatility. And then obviously Pernell McPhee, veteran edge rusher, solid against the run, familiar with the organization. And, I believe as of right now, it's 8:40 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. The Ravens have not acquired some sort of edge rusher like a Melvin Ingram. So I'm assuming, drafting an edge rusher, Pernell McPhee is a good guy to have in that locker room to help them out. So overall, my thoughts, great moves by EDC, solid money. I believe it also helped the cap a little bit. But Joshua, how excited are you to have these guys back?
Listen, if anybody listens to TTB, you all know Tyus Bowers is my guy. Like, I talk about it. He reminds me of a Paul Kruger. He reminds me of a Jared Johnson. The only thing about those guys compared to Tyus is better than all of them for the simple fact that he is a schematic guy, but he also can create his own. I mean, hell, we've seen it being done before. And just like Makana said, he's around the ball. When it's a damn fumble, Tyus Bauer picks it up, runs so many yards, and he's to the house. Oh, out of nowhere, Tyus Bauer drops back, interception. He's that guy that gives the spark. And then on top of that, I believe he's either 25 or he's in that mid-20 range. You find a guy like that in the mid-20s, especially on the defensive side of the ball, he is a dog. We love that. We love keeping our dogs. I mean, granted, I know Ravens Nation, y'all probably upset that we didn't try to fight for Yannick or Matt Judon, but you want us to upsell on guys that didn't do nothing. So pretty much y'all wanted us to buy. Let me put it like this: y'all pretty much wanted us to buy the Charger SRT that was going to give us like the 2020 SRT that was going to give us so many problems versus go getting that old school Chevy Impala. You work on it, you tune it up, put that new engine in that baby, get that joint, vroom, 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 and and you out there like Vin Diesel. Can you beat my car? So I love it. Then you bring let's not forget the monster, Derek Wolfe, and then you got Penel McPhee, two guys that played their asses off against the Tennessee Titans as far as containing Derrick Henry. We like those type of guys. It's a beautiful thing having. Excuse me, Ravens Nation. It's not Corona. It's not Corona. Don't worry, it's not Corona. It's allergy. But but Derek Wolfe and Penel McPhee, they bring that veteran presence. Not only they bring that veteran presence, they still can play at a high level. They still can get at the quarterback. And then you got guys like Brandon Williams, and you still got the Calais Campbells in the middle, maintaining. So that front seven, I'm looking forward. You got the old with the new. You got Jalen Ferguson, who I think might just have that year. He might, with everybody leaving, it might be his breakout year. I said it. I said it now. Today
Sack Daddy gonna get some sacks.
March 17th, 8:44 Eastern Standard Time. It will be Jalen Sack Daddy Ferguson breakout year.
I love to hear that. I think the Ravens are showing confidence in the young guys. And you also brought up Derek Wolfe. Can't believe I forgot to even put him in our little, I was writing down all the moves, but it was just too important. That was a great re-sign. I actually didn't think he'd come back. After he tweeted out something that was like, they don't value you enough or something like that. And it was like, okay, it looks like he's pretty upset, like he's not getting the money that he wants. And I was like, darn, we're going to lose him, but I don't overpay. The Ravens got him on a great deal. 3 years, $12 million, I believe, is the specifics of the deal. That's very, very, very good money. Money well spent. Just going to play really solid, hard-nosed football for the Ravens. And that defensive line has a lot of veteran guys, but it's also still got some room for some young guys. We got Calais, we got Brandon Williams, we got Derek Wolfe. Then we also got the young guys, Jalen Ferguson. We've got,
Madubuike.
We used to have one guy, but now we got just Madubuike. Then in terms of the draft, probably get somebody else, to learn behind those guys. But it's a solid deal. But there was also a trade today. The Ravens got their weapon. Lamar Jackson is ready to terrorize the league as the Ravens have traded a conditional 7th-round pick for the weapon known as Josh Oliver. Okay? I can tell y'all something about Josh Oliver. This man is a beast, okay? I'll have you know, he averaged 5 yards per reception last year on 3 receptions, okay? I guarantee you, if he stays on the Ravens roster, he's going to be very good. But the deal is actually a very smart move, in my opinion, because if he gets cut before, the rosters are finalized, the Ravens get their 7th-round pick back. So it's really just a boom or it's a no-risk, high-reward type of situation. They get their pick back, or they get a guy who has similar athleticism traits to, like a Hayden Hurst, or they just draft somebody, because he wasn't good enough and he can't fit on the roster. So, in my opinion, solid move. Could be future Pro Bowler Josh Oliver out of San Diego State, 3rd-round pick. Or he could be the no-name that the Ravens traded for and got their pick back 2 months later. So I don't know. Anything to add on the greatness of Josh Oliver?
No, at least you gave him respect and looked him up. I don't know nothing about the guy. So, hey, he has to show me what he does on the field, and we keep him around.
I think I may become like a big Josh Oliver fan. I've never even watched his highlights, but I think I may just hype him up for no reason. But that's going to do it for this segment. So if you're watching on YouTube, go check out the full podcast to see the rest of everything that we talk about. Otherwise, you have to wait a couple of days